Actually, this book was a dream for a lot of years.
If you're just joining us, we're talking to Denny Stockdale about his book, Conversations from the Neighborhood Ice Cream Shop. We've been talking about these wonderful life principles that you bring out chapter by chapter in your book, but it all takes place. It's a fictional story with fictional characters surrounding this neighborhood ice cream shop. Beyond that, I had somebody read the book and they said, wow, I really like this, how there's exercises at the end of each chapter. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Like an example. Can you pick one?
Yeah, actually I can. One of the chapters, praise, people respond admirably and sincere encouragement. We all need to be encouraged a little bit more. You know, and you mentioned the difficult times that we have in our own lives and also as a society from time to time.
Yes.
And I think when people start recognizing the value in each other and looking for the encouragement and encouraging each other, our society will be lifted up. So there's some exercises at the end of that chapter as well as each chapter. And praise is who needs encouragement in your life? And I can think off the top of my head of several people in my life that could use a little bit more encouragement. You know, and that's part of what your show is about here too, is getting the encouragement out to read and to learn new lessons from authors as well.
Yeah.
So I admire what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's really, it's a great pleasure and a great honor. I think it's interesting that you'd bring up the chapter about praise. I discovered years ago how important it is if we get good service to mention that, find a way to communicate about that, right? Because any kind of store or retail working with general public, they get complaints.
Absolutely.
If someone's unhappy, it just, wow. There's a lot of chatter about that. I mean, and sometimes it's valid, something needs to be fixed or corrected. But it seems like when we experience truly good service, a good value, a good product, we don't always take that extra step to put that in writing or find the manager. Do you have some experience with that? I mean, from any aspect, from either delivering constructive praise or if there have been times when you've been a boss somewhere and somebody took the time to give constructive praise about someone on your team?
Yeah, actually, on both counts. When I'm in a grocery store, I'll make friends with the cashier.
I bet you do.
and I always appreciate what they do for us, and I say thank you. And in restaurants, you know, the wait staff, I always make a point of thanking them. I go out for a lot of live music too, and I make a point of thanking the musicians for the service they're doing for us.
Yeah, bringing the art and the aesthetics. What a difference that makes, right?
Right.
Just an overall difference. Your hope, your hope factor just raises so much, I think, from any type of music or art.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, and then speaking of hope, as you probably know, it's in my book twice.
Yeah.
Because hope is very important to me, and I think it can create a lot of forward momentum when we stop looking in the past and look forward, and it creates more hope in our lives. The first acronym is help or hold on to peak experiences. When life has a wave or a way of putting us down, or something from our past comes back to haunt us, we need to remember those peak experiences and the lessons we've learned and the times we've been through struggles and what we learned through those. So, and there's exercises around that in the book too. You know, what are some of the peak experiences people have? I recommend people write that down on an index card and carry it in their wallet or a purse or pocket and look at that once in a while.
That is a marvelous idea. It really is. I think some of us more easily gravitate toward, you know, if somebody treats us poorly or, you know, we had sort of tumbled around in a work situation, it's very easy for our attention to go on that, stay stuck in that, go have coffee with a friend and talk about that, go home to your spouse or significant other or puppy and tell them all about it, and, you know, and then you're sort of unwittingly, you're just giving that so much energy and power versus what you're recommending, a peak experience, a good experience, a time when, you know, you were firing on all cylinders or things were going well or you got valid praise, earned praise in something that you had done. And keep that on a card. And maybe we need to keep those to hand so that if we're feeling a little beat up on or having a rough day, take that out. Is that what you're advising? And, you know, just help to kind of reconstitute yourself as to, you know, this is what I'm capable of and what my value is to others.
Absolutely. Well, that's part of it. And also, a good example, back in 1983, I fell head over heels in love with somebody at that point in time. And the relationship lasted for about 2 or 3 months. It ended abruptly by her choice, and it was devastating to me at the time.
Nothing like that kind of devastation.
So I was in a valley.
Yeah.
And because of some of the things that she had started talking to me about, I made some changes in my life that, when I look back a year later, were significant. And so I consider, even though it was tragedy at the time, it was a peak experience because of the lessons I learned later on.
Oh, well, but that's you. I mean, good for you. That's great advice right there. You were able to somehow move through it, and you transformed it to something very constructive.
Absolutely.
Good for you.
Absolutely.
That's not easy to, you know, people call that feedback. That's not always easy to get sort of hit between the eyes with stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, so I consider that, even though I was in a valley, what I learned out of that became a peak experience. And so when I think of hope, I can think for other people, whether it's a health problem or a work problem, when they're in the valley, they can look back. You know, when you're in it, it's tough to think of the outcome. But when you move beyond it, you realize you've made it through many of these. And you're stronger for that, and you can share that experience with others, which gets back to the encouragement factor.
Yeah. I think your character tag, he's really quite patient and is quite earnest to make this investment in others that I guess we start to find out he feels has been made in him. Do you find that to be important, you know, for someone to, without arrogance, self-appoint as a mentor? I mean, even though in your story, the mentor is younger than the protege or mentee, maybe that's part of the lesson as well, is what we have to offer each other. It doesn't necessarily need to go by age or tradition or convention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've learned a lot of lessons from my daughter.
Yeah.
Who's now getting married in the near future. And,
oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I've learned a lot of lessons from her, and my boss at my last contract was a former student and a younger man than I am. And I learned a lot of lessons from him. So he was very encouraging and very positive about building our team and keeping us focused on solutions instead of on the problems.
Oh yeah, that's a very good thing to assign importance to, solutions. See, we've been talking about your book. Where can people find and purchase your book, Denny?
They can get it from Amazon.com.
Okay.
Or they can get it from my website, DennyStockdale.com. DennyStockdale.com, and I pay the shipping then, and I'll autograph it.
Oh, I love that. I need to have you autograph my copy.
And I will.
Before we part ways tonight.
Sure, sure.
The other thing I am curious about, and I would think people that are tuned in right now are wondering, besides being an author, you're clearly an inspirational individual. What else is your profession these days? It sounds like you've had a few different careers.
I've had a few different careers. I have stepped away from an IT career to pursue a personal development company, which I have started and am building. And I run monthly contests where people can answer the question of the month, like what's your biggest challenge this month or this year? So we have questions that are built around personal development, or they can come up with an inspirational quote or their name. And I give away a little prize, either a check for $25 or a book or something like that.
Wonderful. And is this a person could get engaged by visiting your website?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
This is terrific.
And then we also have a monthly newsletter, usually built around an acronym. And one of my favorites from last year was happy, humor and play power you.
Oh, that is so true. That is so true.
Absolutely.
Humor and play power you.
Right.
Oh, I love that. This is a beautiful note for us to conclude on. I want to thank you so much for coming in to talk with me.
My pleasure. It's been delightful chatting with you.
Your book is terrific, and I think I'm going to go out and get some ice cream. Just being honest.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to our interview with Denny Stockdale. This is Lori Crever signing off, inviting you to read a book. It could change your life. And let's encourage our children to do the same.